Thank you guys very much. Super happy to be here this year and do this presentation. I've done this for the last couple years around the United States and overseas, and it's turned more into back to basics. It's turned more into evaluating your work and also maybe trying to help people understand what your tendencies are in your everyday work. So the really bad part about being a farrier is that most of the time we work by ourselves. So when you, and unfortunately, horses can't talk and horse owners don't know very much. So it's real easy to get to a place to where you don't realize you're doing what you're doing. So that's a big believer why I believe in certification, competition, things like that. And so this talks more to maybe helping you understand when you get home on Monday to evaluate your work and see how you're doing. A bunch of these pictures in this are mine, and also a bunch of people sent me some pictures for it, just to show everyday's work, good friends of mine. But just your basics in everyday work is establish shape according to the white line, find arcs in the feet, and what I mean by that is from where your toenail would be to the widest part of the foot, and the widest part of the foot to the end of the heel. In my mind, those arcs should be the same. I'm not a believer in the symmetric feet, so it'll be the lateral and medial arcs will match, but not all together. Fit the shoe to the white line. That's our job at the end of the day. And then expansion and length should be the same. Being a third generation farrier and then having a school for 10 years and everything else, I've seen a lot of horseshoers come through with clinics and stuff, and this can really become just like a job in a hurry. And that's the reason that I always liked it, is because I know it's a game I'll never win. So this stuff I'm going to talk about today are things that I keep in my mind every day to keep myself push forward, tests for me every day, because that's the type of person I am. I need to have small little victories every day to keep this fun for me. So fitting the white line sounds real simple, easy task, right? All of us here, one trip to the foot every day, pretty easy, right? So I found that marking the white line will really show you a lot about your trim and really show you the arcs. So if I could run this right here. Right off the bat, you can look at this trimmed foot here, and you look here, everything looks nice. Man, that's a really nice job, flat. Everything looks intentional. But when you go marking the foot right here with a marker, you can really see the difference in heel lengths just by the arcs of feet. So if you look at this side here, pointy heel to the widest part to the toenail, that's easy to fit because it's the same. But you come over here, you got a big long one and a nice hook. You guys, can you guys see the difference in those heels there? And that's why. This is a horse that, this is actually from the team practice a long time ago, 2010. And so I apologize for this horrible work I'm about to show you that I used to do here. And but this is a team roper kid. I don't know if any of you guys shoe for team ropers. They get their horses done twice a year whether they need it or not. And make sure you lock all your stuff up when they come over. So, and but he gets, this brings these horses in, and this was a good example of horse that I thought was real distorted, real long, and we trimmed him up, and his arcs came out nice all the way around. I got an untrimmed foot. Here we go. Here's the front end of him. So I am real lucky where I live. I live on a big sand pile, and so stuff wears away for us. Most of the time on trimmed horses, we're just addressing the back half of the foot anyway. So this horse hadn't been trimmed in months. Brings him over. So everybody can see how far the heels have migrated forward. Talking about the arcs again, long, big hooks at the end. So simply just trim the heels back on them, made everything nice and uniform, and then nailed this god-awful shoe on there. So we'll talk a little bit about basic fit with shoes when we get past the trim here. A little bit on conformation with feet like this. This horse is extremely rotated, deviation in the right front. You can tell by the line there. And then that affects his feet, so he bears a lot more weight medially than laterally all the time. And that comes back to your fit, where trying to nail a symmetrical shoe on a horse with this type of conformation could really get you in trouble. So this is how I look at feet a lot, looking down over the coronary band. You can tell again, the farthest point forward is the medial toe. This has all been worn off. But still with that, can you guys see how it matches the coronary band? So again, sorry for the nailing and clenching, but just to show everybody's tendencies, this is what was happening that day. I use my nail line a lot when I go back and evaluate my work to reset a horse. A lot of us, the last gentleman was talking about social media. It's pretty cool, and you get to see a lot of neat shoeing jobs on there, but you see a lot of jobs that are got the clinch job done, and you really don't know how that job fit, because it's real easy to clinch on the hoof stand, you know, but it's a lot harder to trim a foot, dress it, fit around it, nail it, and then look at your evaluation. So I use the height of my nails a lot of times to evaluate stuff. What you'll find most of the time on majority of horses that we shoe, the medial toenail and lateral heel nail will be the two highest nails. Those are the two parts of the foot that are farthest away from center. So when you nail something that's symmetrical on there, your nails are closer to the frog in those two places, therefore your nail drops higher. And with this, if anybody has any questions or wants to say anything, is it just at the end, or can they ask all through? Wherever, whenever, perfect. I don't mind arguing. I've been married 23 years, so you guys, come on. I got it down pretty good. But you can see right here, clip fit, everything's good, but then I completely fit completely through the quarter. And that's just obvious, more obvious by the nail line than anything else. So, but you can just tell by the finished job as well. Going back to talking about offset and steel length, if you're hand making a shoe or even using pre-made shoes. And I've never been to the summit before, and it was really nice to walk around the trade show here the last couple of days and look at all the different shoes that manufacturers are coming out with different sections to choose from, lateral side, medial side. They're really moving towards shoes that are more like the hoof capsule for these reasons right here. So you guys can see another thing I look at all the time is central sulcus to each heel, in my mind, should be the same. So I missed that completely on this job. There's another good indication of it right here as well as notice the really horrible nail fit. Don't do that either. But good thing is, as a head horse, they don't care if they limp. You know, they're good to go. It just makes them easier to catch when they're going to go rope. So, all right. Back to conformation, hoof pastern axis, just basic stuff. One thing I will say is I like to evaluate hoof pastern axis when the other limb is loaded, not when they're both standing there side by side. The more that you do research about anatomy and understand the metacarpophalangeal joint and everything that goes on here and how far this descends, the higher a horse's heels are taken, it really makes you pay attention to that right there, to where you want that to be center and load, not just standing there and static. So just a couple lines to show you right there about that. Just this picture right here, this was a young man that came to school in 2010, and he loved to take pictures. And you can see that, again, I'm not a fan of quarters, because I took that one all the way off because of the height of this nail hole right here. So this next series of slides is just to show everybody, I say everybody a lot, most people see one side easily. So everybody here, it's a farrier. We shoe horses every day. Everyone has one foot that you fit right away. Every day. Go to it, whether it's left front, right hind, left hind. But there's always one side of the horse you struggle with, you know. And I really believe in our mind's eye we see a shape. So it's interesting now, doing clinics around, I just have people draw fronts and hinds. Everybody always draws a side. All their fronts, all their hinds are always a right or a left. And doing clinics around and helping people, I tell them all the time now, just if you're struggling, just turn your shoe over upside down than the foot you're struggling with, and it'll usually fit beautifully, because you're trying to nail the same shape on two different feet. And so this is just a few series here. This is that same student. So just to show his tendencies here about fitting so evaluating shoe position and shape. So to me, I thought this was really nice. it's just a uniform keg shoe. You have to rack that shoe or make it longer from here around than you do here. So what happens is your medial nails will be pushed farther forward. Lateral nails will be farther back, and that enables you to fit the back half of the foot equally on both sides. So you can tell by these two right here which side he sees, because those two shoes are shaped identical. So now look at the difference in the back half because of it. Difference in the length here, shorter lateral, arcs don't match as opposed to this side, where if you dissected this out, this toenail will fold right over to the center of the heel, this toenail follows the center of the heel, where these won't. So I'll put a few markers in here so you guys can see. So see how this is a symmetrical shoe nailed on, and this is one that's been racked around to fit. I got a little happy with my computer, so I'll just go right through here. So going right back again, here's that left front that he struggles to fit. Notice the nail line. What are the two highest nails? Medial toe, lateral heel. And you'll see it every time. So, any questions so far? Nothing? All right. So expansion and length. The more that I'm getting into studying anatomy and doing more dissections and stuff, and you learn that usually from the widest part back in the foot, sensitive structures, widest part forward is more rigid. To me, this is a really important part of the hoof to manage and maintain and help the most or pay attention to the most. And usually the shape of this back half will always dictate the front half for me now. You can see right here in this job right here again, not a fan of quarters, so it's easy to rasp them off. They're the weakest part of the foot, right? So, and then everything's hanging out the back instead of fitting around. Same job here, looks like nice. You look at it, boxed, pretty, but then you can just see foot sticking out both sides. And again, it's real forgiving where I live. It's a dry climate, sandy, and we're also with customers around us. There's 3 killer cells within 100 miles of my place. So we don't get the opportunity to really go very far on horses. They'll just take them down, trade them in, and get another one. So being able to do as much as we can with just regular shoeing is usually our best option where we live. I just stuck this in there just to show again, journeyman job, long time ago, but uniformity, going back to your everyday tendencies. If you guys look at pictures of your phone of your shoeing or look on the internet of shoeing jobs from the bottom, you can always tell if people are right-handed or left-handed. All right? Most of the time, the majority of people in the world are right-handed, and so you'll see all the time that the off side of their frog is way laid over. This side of the frog will be straight up and down, and the left front of the horse will be high on the medial, right front will be high on the, or vice versa, for lateral, high on the medial on the right front. So you got to figure out your tendencies of what you do every day. So being able to do uniform work, make the bars the same, the frog look the same on both sides, offset the same, arcs to match, heel to widest part. That's the test every day that I try to look at. So just showing a few hind shoes here, shoeing just about difference of nail holes. Where this is a real symmetrical shoe, you can see the medial nails are farther back, the lot longer medial heel. And you guys can also notice this by your burn. So when you go to burn your shoes on and turn it over, I like to have the same distance from the burn on my heels to the end of my shoe on both heels to be the same. If you didn't fit your toe right, what you'll notice is that you'll barely cover the lateral heel, and you'll have a ½ inch hanging out the medial heel. Material you don't need. So here's the other side of the same horse, and we'll go back in a second. Look at the difference in where the nails are racked around. But now we're central sulcus to the same plane on the back, as opposed to that one right there. So just a few guides. Measure central sulcus to each heel, the same. And when I fit shoes, even a lot of people tend to struggle fitting toe clips in the center. Well, if you have your your measurement and your offset right, this is the only thing I look at when I'm fitting, because then my toe clip will be right at the point of the frog. Same thing, talking about fit, just another example right here. Central sulcus to each heel the same, lengths the same. Now this is the same young man, again going right back. Look at this, central sulcus to one, all this is the same, arcs match, but here's his other side. Lateral nails forward, difference here, a lot farther to this heel, a lot longer to that heel. So he sees right fronts real easy. So if you were to take this shoe right here and turn it over with this longer branch, that push forward, then you'd have the same fit as you do here on the back half. This is a lot harder test than people think. Something to try to strive, and if you get one a week, you do pretty good for me, as far as however much expansion you have is how much length you have coming around the heel. There's a one right there that's pretty normal. So a lot of us, get the shoe slid back to the toe quarters touch. As long as we can get it nailed on the white line, we don't really think about what's going on back here. Or we get to the grinder and we make it fit. I put this picture in here at practice. It looks like a nice job. It's a right front. Everything else, nicely forged shoe, very intentional frog, sole work. Bars terminate in the same place. But man, look at the toe of that shoe and look at the nail holes. Look at the length of heels. Heel fit. So this is something that's interesting. Like I said, I live in a dry climate, and don't shoe where it's really wet for a long period of time. But I don't fit horses real big. I try to have the same fit all the way around from the toe clip to the end of the heel. I'm still struggling with the whole heel expansion deal. I haven't quite got an answer yet. I know I've seen all the press work, static, and they push down and the heels widen, but that's just a split-second part of the whole journey of the stride phase of a horse. I still do believe when a horse lands that the heels go in and forward and the quarters expand. But this is real common. Cut right through, have all this hanging out, and not having the center of your shoe at the center of your heel. Same thing here. Went right through the quarters and just hung right out the back of the foot. Highest nail again. So I thought this was a pretty nice job. This is how I fit horses a lot every day in my practice, or try to. If you toe clip and then get a fit like this, then I think you could fit a horse any way you choose. Just an everyday shoeing job. I just talked a while ago about the same expansion from the clip fit around. You have your clip, comes around, same exact shoe, arcs match, third nail at the widest part, toe nail to here, heel to there, all matches. And that's concrete for Oklahoma, by the way, in case you guys didn't know. We're pretty lucky to get that hard, nice surface. So we just talk about heel fit. It's pretty self-explanatory that this is horrible. So please don't do this when you shoe horses. All right, nail holes are reference to fit. So when you pull the shoe off, it's another thing you can do is pull the shoe off, nip your foot, and then just grab that nip in your hand and look where the nail holes are on the white line. Majority you find your lateral toenail will be the farthest away from the white line. And then your lateral heel nail will be inside the white line most of the time. So if I pull off and trim a foot and have all the nails in the same place in the white line, I feel pretty comfortable about it. And I don't use a lot of shoes shaped like this, simply for this reason right here, nailed up. Those are way far away from anything that I want to be. That just led to distortion. A lot of these pictures, too, are from a good friend of mine in Texas that I'm pretty sure is an examiner for the LPO. And him and I were always bantering back and forth about fit and good horseshoeing. So he went through the whole process and became a journeyman farrier. In fact, I believe he's one of the 6 people to pass the tradesman when it was just an hour-and-a-half test. So really put his effort in. And I think failed to mention he's 67. So pretty impressive, yeah. So it was real neat for us to go through this journey together. It was about a 6-year process. And he helped me change the way I shoe front feet a lot, but he definitely shoes hind feet different now after going through it for all of this. Another thing that you'll find if you pay more attention to fitting around feet, having the same expansion, same length around, nailing gets real simple. You don't argue with it anymore. You don't struggle. Nails are expensive. Also, I like super high nails, not deep nails. There's a huge difference. So what are they up to, about 9 cents a piece now? I just can't get cutting half of them off, you know? So this horse right here, going back to, if you thought there was a worse customer than a team roper, you should shoot for a steer tripper, which I don't think they have too many places up this way. This is my father-in-law's horses. Brings them down on the holidays. And so can you guys see right away which foot I see easy? So just going off the nail holes alone, I was super proud of this job back in the day. And but just look right here. I see rights a lot easier. You can see the arcs coming out of the clip. Even nails, good. But then come over here. All this got rasped off all the way to here. Super high nails. Missed the whole toe quarter here. Low nails went right through the quarter on the outside. So when you get back home and you shoe your first horse or you lead them out, put them in the cross ties at your first stop, just take a second to evaluate your nail holes. See what you find. And then don't burn my house down. So another nice job. Looks super nice from the front. But then you start going through and looking at different things like this. You can tell from the clip. Cut right through. Really full here. Went right underneath the foot there. Highest nail. Highest nail. And we'll just keep kind of showing stuff. I hate to pick on my father-in-law, but this is his horse as well. So I think I was out of town in Canada when they came for Thanksgiving, so I didn't get to do his horses. So he had it done from the local guy there, and he called me. He said, "You won't believe how good this guy is. These shoes have been on here for 7 months." And so it just goes to show you, I think that horses make it in spite of us, not because of us. That's what I learned from my father-in-law there. But it was good for me to see when he got it down and we saw the arcs again. So I've been an examiner for 15 years now and then was a tester for 5 or 6 before that. And I always love to go around to people's shoeing rigs at certifications and look at their used shoes in their truck. And you can usually pick away. I just write down little notes, and I'm about 90% right on who passes and who fails by the shape of their shoes and their used shoe pile. And because you can always tell how people trim or fit every day. And this is what you don't want to see. There's our widest part of the foot, big, huge hook in the back, long in the front. I don't think that one got shaped, but again, goes to show you what horses can take. So the next few of these slides are just a little bit about section and trying to add for uniformity. So you can tell, we talked earlier about the frogs, which handed that this person was that did this foot right here. One side of the frog's trimmed, the other's not. This side of the foot's all been knifed out. This side hasn't. Right people will take the right side of the foot all the way out, never get around to the left opposite. Frog, it'll be the left side of the frog. They always lay their knife down, but they never get it over to get the right side even. So these are just all tips I want you guys to kind of remember when you get back home and look at your work. So perimeter fit. The one thing that changed my horse's feet the most, especially hind feet, is when I went to toe clipping. And so I just picked a horse a day and toe clipped. And it made a huge difference in the quality of the feet I had when I started doing that. Because you actually had to fit the toe. We just couldn't slide the shoe back until the quarters touched and then use the famous word breakover as an excuse not to fit. And so I put a few more slides in here from other people. So can you guys tell with this frog right here what handed this person is? It's pretty simple to see. Right-handed, laid it all down, didn't get much to the right side. And then, but he sees right front, just by the toenails. Widest part, here to there. So again, yes. Sorry. Sorry. Move. Yeah. Yeah, just tell me to get out of the way. Yeah. I don't know. Oh, you can't see it? Sorry. I'll have you know I did not design this. Okay. So does that help at all? Can you see that? So what I'm looking at here is just the frog. Can you guys see it over there? You see? Oh, okay. Perfect. No pointer. All right. I'm just pointing to the frog right now. Gotcha. So, all right, I'll do a better job of trying to get out of your way. So right back again, just going back to evaluating work. Beautiful, nice shoe, somebody forged up. But again, it's not the side. If you flip this shoe over, it'd be nice. All right, so just differences in shoeing. This is that same guy I was talking about. You should shoe a lot of horses like that behind before, and then going through the plain stamped practice for his journeyman, he noticed a big difference in his horses and also the perimeter fitting behind. So we talk a lot about hind feet push off, don't break over, things like that. That could be a whole nother clinic. But that's usually the first thing I do. My business has really changed in the last 3 years, shoeing a lot more thoroughbreds, warm bloods, things like that. And I've noticed going back in is toe clipping those horses all the way around is what's made the biggest difference with them, and gathered feet up. So we talking about section, put this picture in here. It was nice just to see on this job right here the uniformity of everything. So again, when you get home and evaluate your work, just look at both your bars when you're done, the depth of your sole on both sides. I use my hand a lot or a wire brush and cover up the foot, one side or the other, front or back, to see how I am on uniformity. Okay, what can you guys see right here? Is this a nice fit, bad fit? Can you guys see it that well? I'll do the whole pointer thing on this side. All right, there we go. How y'all been over here? Good? Sweet. Okay, so right away, see, I can't hardly see this one. This is unfair. Just look at the foot coming out of the clips right away. So you can tell this goes completely under. This comes out, comes back around. Highest nail, highest nail. Does everybody see that? So yeah, I'm super good at this, by the way. So, yeah, no problem. Okay. I'm pretty sure this is from a horseshoer from North Carolina. I got these pictures a while ago, and I did this at Moneta, and I'm talking about all this bad work I did, and this guy came up to me after the clinic. He said, about 8 of those slides are mine. I was like, well, the good ones or the bad ones? But no, this was some work that he did. I thought it was a really nice job. Again, clip fit's nice. The picture they presented was nice as far as widest part, came all around the foot, box to it. All right. I know I've been talking about toe clips and perimeter fit a bunch, so I'm going to put some of these slides in here about actually shoeing a few horses and achieving different things. What I normally try to do, and every day it's pretty simple for me, is where the bars terminate to the frog. From that point to where the horse leaves the ground, or you use the term breakover, from that point to where he bears weight on the heel, the shoe in the back, I like for that to at least be 50-50 every day. So however I need to achieve that, I will. So there's a horse. I am a big fan of rocker toes because I like money, and shoes last longer when you rocker toes. So I've got 3 skinny kids and an expensive wife, so got to shoe a lot of horses every day. But and also with rockers, I can put it wherever I want in the shoe, so it doesn't have to be. This one's pretty straightforward, but I can let the foot hang, see where it sits on the ground, and then put the center of my rocker there. I noticed the one thing I really changed over the last 18 months or so is I used to try to add stuff to horses all the time to improve them, and I find myself doing more taking away now instead of adding. Completely changed. I used to shoe a lot of pairs of feet, try to match fronts, and I don't do any of that anymore. I shoe a lot of limbs now, completely different. Yes?
What do you mean taking away, like try to take away?
So I try to undo the leverage instead of adding something somewhere else to support or increase something. So like using way more rockers now instead of wedges. Width of steel is big. Again, I'm lucky to live on a sand pile, so just by taking a fuller and cutting out the toe of a shoe, I could pretty much put a 2-degree wedge on one in soft ground, because that part of the toe is going to sink, heels will stay above the ground, or one side or the other, vice versa. That answer that? All right, back again. I just got these thrown in here. For this side of the room, do you guys think that this is a nice fit job? Right offset. Can you see the pointer? Right away, toenails give it away. Cool. Arcs don't match, all right. Here's another horse, super upright. Shoe a lot of quarter horses as well. Simple things, which you'll find when you do that 50-50 deal. The line from the coronary band, the top third of the foot, will usually come right through where you put your rocker or the back of your section. And then, again, utilize your nail holes to see about fit. This was pretty good. This horse was in pretty bad shape, just got him shot up. But again, left the hole, was the lateral side, missed all this, went right through the quarter, highest nails, around. This goes back, I talked a little bit already about nail holes. I do believe that good high nails are better for the horse. And we don't clinch much either. So if barely square where I'm at, I would a whole lot rather come back and tack a shoe back on the same holes than rebuild the foot and tack a shoe back on. It's a big animal. And I took my clinchers out of my truck for a whole rotation, which was about 400 shoeings then, and lost 2 shoes. Pretty average. So it taught me quite a bit about surface area is what keeps shoes on, not clinches. What I mean by surface area is burning on shoes, 2 flat surfaces. In section, shoeing a little heavier as well, I've noticed, has really made a difference. And also taking away traction, especially behind, has made a huge difference. So evaluating flat, that's a picture of me years ago at my shop. And the good thing about using your thumb is you can make that foot as flat as possible. You just got to hold your tongue right and twist it around a little bit, and it'll look good. It'll get there sometime. So try to hang feet by the coronary band or by the cannon bone now. Get my head up underneath the pointed elbow and evaluate differently as far as that goes. So here's some pictures of some shoeing again, showing where the arcs don't match at all. And then I put this in here where we talked a little bit about traction behind, is how important nail fit is. And it's been really cool to, like I said, to walk around the last couple of days and see how hard everybody's working to make different nails for all these different shoes that are out that actually seat in and fit well. And because this is what you don't want. I really do believe that the traction behind has got, and taking away the toe is what causes a lot of problems behind. I really do. So, and on that note is another thing too I noticed is that doing clinics and going around is, just because we have a knife, nippers, and rasp doesn't mean we have to use it on every foot. It's real important to understand as horseshoers that our job is to do no harm, period, right? So if you get to a foot and everything is there, everything is uniform, smooth, terminates the same spot, don't touch it. Be nice, just hug them, do your 20-minute shoeing, get your money, and get to the next one, So that's why I threw these in here, just to show a few examples of that. All right. This right here is just something about finish. I put this in here for is, I think that Stephen Bean just did his fellowship on this, dorsal wall rounding or doming. And this really works in my part of the world really well to keep feet together. And the analogy I use at clinics and stuff is just get out on your hands and do a push-up. and do push-ups with your fingers straight, and then try push-ups with your fingers bent. You can do twice as many, your fingers bent. So, in the way that the mechanics of a foot, how they work, this really helps me hold a lot of feet together. I shoe with a lot of solid bowl shoes now and rockers and different sections than I ever did before. And I all like to finish up with a finish like this on there. Not dubbed off, but just rounded up a little bit.
Did you never get that published yet?
I don't think so. I think Jonathan, how long is it before you guys can send out your FW stuff for the public? Yeah, so I don't think it's out yet. Okay. Oh, perfect. So you were saying the WCF is going to put together a website to publish all their findings on a website you can go to and read about it. Be good to have. So in basics, and from the first time you guys started shoeing, you hear people talk about shoeing inside the box. And that simply is your toenails being crossed. If you draw a line down from your toenails down through the center of your heels, it should go right through the center, and then the arcs like we talked about. So like I said, you could really tell a lot about how people trim feet just by the shape of the shoes. So this shoe on the right, how tight the toe is, and then the heels don't even remotely come close to passing through the toenail right there. So that foot was left with a ton of stacked heel, and back half of the foot on that trim was not addressed a bit. But the good thing is he's not going to fall down on the pavement. So you got to find positive in every deal. So again, looking at this is typical upright quarter horse foot. Obviously has some pathologies going on, or he wouldn't have the shoeing job. But everything about this job to me seems backwards for what you're trying to achieve. Number one, just like we talked about before, is nail choice. So this horse has probably got some type of navicular, concussion-related issues going on, and you're going to put cleats on him, and then you're going to add a real porous aluminum shoe that's got a lot more traction than steel, and then stick it on top of a pad and fit under it. Fit everything underneath it and straight. So you guys imagine what this looks really nice on the day, but what that would look like in 6 weeks, and what you're doing. So there's a lot that goes into this besides just making a foot look pretty and nailing on a shoe with the open end of the back. So you need to think about what the horse does, where he works, terrain. If the owners ride like a 300-pound stroke victim, you can't fit a bunch of steel everywhere. There's just a million things to think about when you're shoeing. Sorry, Margie, I shouldn't have said that. So everybody gets one, right? It gets one. So I'm just a redneck from Oklahoma. Go easy on me. Looking at this shoe job right here, what do you guys see? I honestly can't see that one. Yeah, man, that's tough. But
Well, it's got to be that the toenail's high on one side.
well, this was a nice job. Yeah, no, it's a nice job. It's the toenails are the same. Everything matches up. You can see it's trying to put some good stuff. So one of the last ones here. This is another example. Left front, all the time, besides the nail fit. But look at that medial toenail and the lateral heel nail. Can you guys see that? Yeah. You'll be surprised when you get back or you start looking at your phone here. Again, how common this is. Another deal, just to show in there again what people see aside. Somebody did nice work on the frog and then completely fit the opposite shoe on there. Again, if you turn that shoe over upside down, probably fit pretty nice on there. All right, talking about different types of shoes to complement feet. So I don't use a lot of square-toed or blunt-toed shoes. 2 reasons. Again, I was saying earlier, I live on a sand pile, so just red dirt, sand everywhere. If you just look at the width of section of that shoe be you guys' left, then look how wide the toe is and look how narrow the branches are, especially the heels. So if you imagine if you put that in soft ground, what's going to happen? Yeah, so you just derotated old Fluff there. You just put him, all horses are fluffy, by the way. So you just did a graduated shoe on him. So that type of shoe doesn't work where I'm at, all right? Also, another thing I always show people at clinics, if you took a tape measure and measured from the center of the toe and around to the widest part of that shoe on the left, and from the center of the toe to the widest part of the shoe on the right, it's going to be 3/8 of an inch less material on the perimeter fit one per side. So it's going to be 3/8 of an inch more material from the center around to here than the center around to there on this shoe. So 3/8 and 3/8 is 3/4, right? So when I get asked to fit a shoe like that, I always ask them, and I show them that measure, carry soft tape in my shoeing box. And I say, so you want me to add 3/4 of an inch of steel to the front half of this foot so he gets out of the ground faster? I'm a little confused. Like I said, I'm slow. So that's another reason that I don't shoe with this type of shoe. So hence, going from adding stuff, Jason, to taking away. So using more rockers and things like that to achieve what this foot needs is exactly what that is, but to go about it in a different way. Surely somebody wants to argue about that. Come on now. Nobody?
I mean, you're saying that that point toe is gonna give me better breakover than the toe that's got the rock and the roll up?
I'm not saying anything. I'm just telling you why I don't shoe that way. But yes, because how often is Fluffy walking in a perfectly straight line? Yeah. And then where are these shoes always worn out at? In the center? No. Yes, ma'am.
You think that's because he doesn't want it?
Absolutely. All right. So right back to the picture from the beginning, just talking about fitting the nail holes in the white line, uniform across, arcs of feet, just a little review of stuff, different shapes. So this is that friend of mine again, and you could see he sees right hinds, pulled off a shoe out of the box, racked it, got the nice arcs, same from Central Sulcus, fit the back half, but not so Wayno on the left. So it just goes to show, like going back to see uniform nails, everything else, and you can see how much longer the medial got, short. Everybody sees one side or the other. Everybody struggles seeing one shape. And like I said, just get your piece of paper and draw a front and draw a hind, and you're going to see which side you see right away. This is a shoe that I started using quite a bit. Really enjoy it. Does a lot. Again, it doesn't have the width up there. This is actually a wedged one. I just use the flats a lot, PLRs. And they got super wide heels, and then they're narrow where they bear weight in the toe. So it's opposite of what we saw earlier. So the toe will sink in the ground. So going right back to this, just reiterating a little bit. That's just a line to show the 50 where the bars terminate in and to the breakover. And some more jobs about wedging stuff up. Looking at all these, though, these jobs right here, just looking at the nails being uniform, trying to fit around the foot as much as possible. And again, we don't fit much longer than that. I think you do more damage myself fitting much past the buttress. All right, so probably last time here. Do you guys, is this shoe shaped for that side or the other side? Can you guys see it? Yeah, the opposite foot, isn't it? There you go. That's the right side there. Perfect. So I was talking earlier about right-handed and left-handed. Do you think this person is right-handed or left-handed? Think so? This is what you normally see a lot with right-handed people. This lateral side will be tall, right here. And then this side usually looks pretty decent or could be high here because your dominant hand's against the horse on the right-hand side. So, and body position, so you can just even look at the coronary band there. And then the fit, same thing. This will be your worst foot when you're right-handed. So, is that the sign? 10 minutes left. Excellent. We'll go into a few questions if you guys want. We just have 10 minutes left here. So, is there any questions? There's just a few slides left, pretty much all the same stuff. Yes, sir. Yeah, so I started toe clipping the hinds and then started plane stamping a lot of horses behind. Same thing. It's honestly, it's not our responsibility for people to ride their horse correctly. I'm going to do what's best for the horse, not for the discipline or whatever else. I do ask them, I guess you're talking about barrel horses specifically, and I do ask them, is your horse one that sinks in the ground when it comes around a barrel, or is your one that stays above the ground? So you have your riders that pull to the hip and come around one, and you have your riders that do the bicycle, They just steer, let everything else follow. So those horses I'll just use like a regular keg shoe, that much deal, but won't put really any type of concave or traction on the back like that. Why did that help? I think horses are designed, the back foot is designed to slide into the ground when it comes. And when you add all that to it, I think all of your joint issues you have, types of spavin, things like that, all come from concussion. So the more I can help them with that, the better. And then also just getting out of the ground. The more you start studying about reciprocal apparatus and things like that, you realize that horse has a pointy spade-shaped foot in the hind for a reason. All the way up to the shape of the cannonbone. It's more of a teardrop shape, has more mass in the leading edge of it, because that's where the more force is put on the hind is in the leading edge of the foot. Any other questions?
Yes,
Yep.
I'm not quite clear on the doming.
Okay. Just from where the top third of the foot comes down, from that aspect, I just want a little arc to the foot. And I know you hear people talk about you can't rasp integrity into a foot, but I think it comes from about 2012. I got to shoe with a really high-level group of guys all that year, and they had me start dressing my feet from the top before I ever got to trim from the bottom. And I learned that nippers really aren't that important, and started dressing my feet first and realizing that a good horseshoeing job looks really long from the bottom and nice and tidy from the top. So to me, I think that's the best horseshoeing job you can do for a horse right there. You're going to do the least harm with shoeing like that. So I like it to be in a lot like this job right here, not a perfectly straight line, because the whole skeleton of a horse is held up from suspension, right? P3. So every time a horse takes a step, the way everything moves and the sole descends, everything and the toe dishes with every stride. So if you leave it perfectly straight from the beginning, imagine in 6 weeks how that's going to get pushed down. But if you have it domed like this, you don't see any bridges or anything like that with straight lines, do you? Everything's got an arc because it's the strongest. So I just try to match that. Does that answer that? Perfect. Any other questions? Practice that one. So just shape it. Shoot. It's real simple. Like when you guys figure out what side you shape. So when either you're using keg shoes, find out what your easy side is. See which way the fullering's pointed on your anvil, and just do the same moves with the fullering on the other, pointing the other way, and you'll end up with a pair. Good.
One more.
Yes, sir.
When you mentioned that you let the clinches out of your truck for a cycle,
Yep.
you just drive a nail, ring them off, wrap the nail heads off. What did you do?
I just drove them, burn them on, nailed them up, clinch blocked them, just fast and smooth. Yep. Yep. I've always been that way. It's always had the mind, I use a lot of my lesson horses at my barns. I'll shoot one side one way and one side the other. Just don't tell anybody till now. So please don't tell my customers that. So I can see what's going on. Any other questions? I really appreciate you guys listening to me. Have a good day.